All right, good morning, guys. Ken at Tourist Capital. This is Creativity 202 check in for July 16th, 2023. And we want to respect Jeff's time. I know he's got some work to do for another presentation. So we're just going to jump right into it if you're ready, Jeff, and we'll get moving on yours. I have his slide deck, so and with your permission, I'll share it with the boys when we're done. Um,
Yep. Yeah,
so,
that'll be great.
I'll, Do you need me to show it, or can you control the screen from there? Are you going to be all right?
No, if you could show it for me, that would be better. I'm out here in the
Oh,
penalty
okay.
box, so I don't have a
Yeah.
computer or anything.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Um,
And I'll just start. I have a few things to say before we get to that. So I'm here in Utah. We're getting busy. The next 2 months will be the busiest of my year. And thankfully, yesterday we worked till late. Me and my wingman have been on alert over in I don't know if you can see that. That's what we call the pit. So I've been first up for like a month, which means I have to be ready to go at any time. But we had some help show up, so now I'm in position number 3, so I can relax a little bit. But we're supposed to have possibly record-breaking heat today at 101, which doesn't sound like much, except we're at 5,600 feet elevation, so 101's pretty hot. And I'm just going to sit here in the shade and look at my note card. So lesson 21, tweaker. I like that. My word of last week was doji, and I've always liked the doji bar on the daily chart. I think there's opportunity there. Looking at the lesson, they say the best strategies are ready to go and they inspire confidence. And that's kind of like me choosing the sniper system instead of trying to create something from scratch. And then the tweaks that I'm looking at are finding a time frame that fit me and my lifestyle. Another thing is tweak an existing strategy uh, to work in the current circumstances. I think that's why I have several exits, and for only one entry, I have several exit possibilities. I also like the idea that Monday morning quarterbacking, which is what everyone does, they assess your prior performance. I'd like the idea that that strengthens your logic, but it doesn't take any creativity to do that. Go back to a previous battle and imagine a new obstacle. Sanal's story on the replay from last year about the 2-hour battle drill was epic, so I decided not to try to follow that. That was something worth revisiting several times. The idea of the Enzo, I've been drawing circles all week, and nothing really came to me until this morning. And I have a few notes here on my iPad I'll share with you. So I'm going to keep doing it. I have a little written journal that I write in every day, so I can write a circle every day. But I saw it a little bit differently than other people. And what's in the middle of my circle? It's it's everything that's important to me. What belongs there? Only the truly valuable things. So family, friends, trusted others, knowledge, confidence, skill, experiences. How do I keep it there? I don't. It's where it naturally lives, and things flow in and out over time. What do I do with it once I have it? I try to appreciate it. That's a skill I've learned later in life, and share it with others. Who do I share it with? Really, anyone who's interested. You find that a lot of people are just not interested in what you have to share, but some are. So you share it with them. Who do you share it with? I think I covered that. Um, how do you give it away? Just by sharing my experience and experiences with others. I used to think you needed to gather up as much stuff as you could in life and hold on to it. I really think everything's meant to be given away over time at this point. What happens when you surrender and empty yourself? The circle actually gets bigger and more valuable things enter the circle. When there's nothing, what's next? New experiences and relationships are always waiting just outside the circle. And then I'm going to continue to reflect on that and keep drawing circles and see what comes out of it. So this week, I spent a lot of time. I haven't read the book completely, but I started the book, Trying Not to Try. That was a recommendation from Ken. And I'm trying a lot less hard than I was a couple of weeks ago. And that's definitely, it has to kind of come naturally, because I've proven with evidence that you can't try harder to make things happen. I've on the nearest neighbor idea. I know I'm looking for simple, robust, and durable systems that not only work, but they work for me. And I'll go over my presentation here. So the first, let's see if I can see the slide on my phone. The first slide is my last 30 trades. So that's all of July, 2 weeks. So I went from trading 47 trades in 1 week, the end of June, to fairly consistently 15 trades a week. I could do more if I wasn't working, but that's what I was able to do. The interesting thing about this chart is the very first week, my sole intention was not to make any mistakes, and I didn't make any mistakes. The second week, my sole intention was to focus on the region between -1 and +2R, and to ruthlessly manage my risk and get to no lose plus dinner for two quickly. My stats show that I accomplished that, and there was a little cost to that. So I made 2 mistakes this week that cost me 1.1R. The nice thing is now I have a system for tracking those mistakes on a daily basis and analyzing them and knowing what the cost is. And the interesting thing, I think, is I have to accept imperfection. I have to be able to make mistakes. I can't try to never make a mistake, because then you can't make a decision. But I need to be aware of the mistakes that I'm making and try to eliminate some of them and try to track their cost. So that's kind of what came out of that. Going forward with my trading, I'm going to actually become a swing trader out of necessity, just because the next 2 weeks are going to be, or the next 2 months are going to be incredibly busy. This past week, I had 2 swing trades. One of them I held on to for 3.5 days. Pfizer, it just didn't move. And the other one I got stopped out of, which was Verizon. Got in too early. It went against me, took my stop, and I'm still stalking those. On the next slide, Ken. But I do like the evidence that from -1 to +2, positive expectancy. So there's that. This is something from Luke, a different lens to look through at my data. So the first 2 things that came out were that I had a couple of days that I had a -7.3R day, and then I had a -5R day or something like that. Yeah. So if I just eliminated those 2 days by implementing the 4 bullet rule and limiting my daily loss, that would prohibit me from getting further in the hole on days when I'm just not seeing the market, or I'm just not performing, or whatever's going on. So that's some R that I can capture back in the future by just not allowing those days to happen. So I think there's 4 or 5 R there that I could capture just by stopping at -4 for the day, taking a break, and reanalyzing the market and coming back the next day. So that was something that came out of that. So the next and last slide, Ken, let me do a time check here. Has anybody got the time? It's disappeared from my screen.
It's 10:19 Central.
Okay, perfect. I got about 4 or 5 minutes. That'll be great. So in the interest of tweaking, my focus going forward is going to be on the planning phase. All the trades I've taken so far have just been on the lower time frames. Nothing has had a higher time frame setup, and I've kind of gotten lost in those 1 and 3 minute charts. And for all my life, I've spent my time framing the daily chart and then stalking on the hourly chart. So going to try to go back to that, which I think will yield some good results with hopefully I have some new skills that I didn't have 4 months ago, trading the lower time frame charts. But this is Griffin Cooper. He shared this with me nonchalantly a couple of weeks ago, and he took an existing tool on the Thinkorswim platform, tweaked it to us for the tortoise style traders, and in literally 3 seconds, I can frame a system, a symbol, and it as long as I know where my stop is and my target, it'll give me a not later than entry, and that guarantees more than 2-to-1 risk reward. And of course, if you stock in the lower time frames and you're successful, then you get many multiples of that. So there's three slides here that show the same tool, and we're just calling it, I think Griff's calling it the RL channeling tool, and I've just been calling it the channel tool. But any channel you see on any time frame, you can determine whether it's tradable or not by Ken's measure of how many MMRBs down it is. And it's just it takes a task that used to be time consuming because drawing in Thinkorswim is a little bit difficult for me, and it just frames it automatically. And that line stays on your chart, so you know where your not later than entry is to have your risk reward with that larger risk box. And it's fractal. It works on all time frames. So you'll see the 30-minute slide at the end. And I'm just about out of time because I've got about 40 people waiting for me inside. And I'm going to head that way now as I finish talking to you guys. And I think that's all I've got for the day, Ken.
Ken, you're muted.
Right. Yeah. So there's your maximum adverse excursion. You can guarantee that's a harsh winter. SSC, leg 1, kata 2. There's the emerging dragon. Here's a kata 2, another kata 2. Failure to follow through, collapsing dragon, second collapsing dragon. Now this is in a perfect position here. That would support either a move in either direction. You could either play it strict, like if it played the tight breakout here, I'd be willing to use that as my execution risk. Or I could just use the wider stop as the execution risk. That's fine. And then if it breaks above this key level, it's really going to go. That thing I was drawing before was this idea that you're moving along in a state of equilibrium at a zero state where this is a sustainable energy, and you've got your little internal self here, and you're getting inputs from the world, and you're doing something with it, and you're doing outputs to the world. And this is the idea of letting go of things, always getting back to the zero state, and letting go of things. And then if you do that, your performance now starts, that's your alpha. That's your improvement. So for me, that little Enzo is this, and I try to think of this as the gatekeeper, and I have my sense of duty inside here, the inner value, and things come into me, and I do my duty, and I give the results back to the world, and that allows me to retain just those things that allow me to do my duty. And that sort of keeps me in some kind of little state of equilibrium. So effortless action, but there's also the idea of this gatekeeper is this continuing assessment. If that's the gate, and this is my boundaries and protective for It's the gate, what comes in, what comes out, and I want that to be an intention. I want that to be a decision. Right. So great work, Jeff. And I will send you his slides. Pretty slick stuff. Let me get my little gizmo here. Chunlong.
I thought that we are doing the check-in procedure. But anyway, my word of last week is wedge. Just try to continue to improve my daily routine works, use spreadsheet, get me in the state to trade. Last week I take 65 trades. That's much more than what I planned it. Some on 5 minutes, some on the 30 minutes. Continue to investigate the triple screen strategy. Found some good a candidate to trade. Actually, I put on some trade, plan to hold overnight, but every day close to the market close, I kind of scare. My thought is I don't want to lose money on that, so I close that. Kind of regret on that, but that's a procedure to learn. The 65 trade I took, slightly positive, break even. Have one trade, the loss is larger than 1 hour. It's not from a usual psychological mistake. It's just because I misplaced the price for stop just a couple cents. If that is a mistake, it's a minor mistake for me. Didn't check again. Other than that, previously I focused on control the R histogram on the left side, make sure I don't have larger than 1 hour loss. I gradually switch to the other side, try to, increase my average win. Found a little bit success, but be patient with myself again. Move to today's lessons. Yeah, again, this is really a good lesson. It's a short one, but a really good one. I took some notes on that. So about ready to go strategies, the 12 battle drill is a set of ready to go strategies. I have to rehearse them so I can use them without much effort. That's an effortless doing from that. Then the creative strategy shouldn't be entirely new. I thought about, when to apply the no lose plus dinner for two strategy. One is too soon or one is too late. Is there such thing as too soon and too late? Because every trade is different. because of the time, will pattern, money, all those stuff different. Also think about, how to find the mover versus know the symbol I trade. There's some creativity there. Also think about, how to apply, plan, prepare, execute, assess. That's a strategy, develop really well. Or how do I apply that? When I have a trade on the fly, how to apply that? So move to the next session of the lesson. We only need just the right minor adjustment. That's really true because I have to learn the standard pattern SSC, CD, Kata 2, Emerging Dragon, all. But every trade is different. How do I do the minor adjustment? Also think about the exit, the interesting for me to remember how the dragon exit come from Ken's, daily review, his swing trading, and then finally, get a name to that. That's interesting stuff. From many trades become a kind of standard exit. Now, how to develop the skill to be creative? I thought about success collapsing dragon. There's a collapsing dragon pattern. It may be successful, maybe fake out or shake out pattern. What do I do? How do I prepare for that? Think about the Wu exit, versus the strike. I follow the Wu Wei, suddenly I get a field, just strike. And then the big stuff is the self-coaching, can teach every day, also learn from the other traders, do the self-coaching stuff. I really exercise from the lesson, think about that, because last year I did that. I, just think about that the thoughts fly in my mind and move on to the traders exercise about the insults. I did a little bit research and to the YouTube, found some good, video from that talk about what the insult means in the Zen mindset or in the calligraphy or something about Wu Wei. Now, give me a good thought about that, and I think I'll have a couple of Zen moment about my thinking. When I do the search, Alan Watts keep out, there's a many video somebody made, actually the Alan Watts lecture about the Zen teaching, very interesting. Then I move on to the trader exercise. There's this about 10 questions can ask, we reflect on that. There's 8 questions. I did the first one first. What is in the center of your angel? My answer is nothing, emptiness. Also, my plans, goals, and achievements are the effort to draw the circle. It seemed to be that core beliefs are centered within that angel, but even core beliefs cannot be held there, because in the Zen teaching, the impermanence is the constant truth. Nothing else exists forever. So at this point, that's my thought. I try to keep go on. I couldn't. The next thought just connect to the first question. What I decide to do, okay, I do the last next. So I move on to the 8th question, which is when there's nothing, what is next? For me, the answer is, what is next? Effortless living. No mistakes in life. I cannot not do that because that's just me. Also, there's no death, just a open-ended circle. Next start point from the end of that circle. That's the answer to the 8th. And I move back to the 7th. What happens when you surrender and empty yourself? Ego is gone and the self becomes the new ego. That means, can the ego actually go, or we move to the next level of thinking? So life is like a layer of onion, nothing in the core. You peel the onion, nothing left in the core. Move back to the 6th. How do you give it away? I don't give away anything because I don't really possess anything. Now, who am I? I don't possess them. So like money, cash or credit, they will find a way to go. Even you use the money to buy something, or you give the money away to somebody, or you give the money, try to give it to my son. And even my son needed that or not. So money at the best is just a numbers exchange, between people. Move back to the number 5. Who do you share it with? So my answer is the vibration will find the resonance. Whoever needed will get it. Number 4, what do you do with it once you have it? I want to hold it, and I want to accept it, and I move on to next. Number 3, how do you keep it there? I cannot hold anything there. There's a time that something will be there, always something there. Only what I do, I want at this moment will be there. So when I do that, I can talk about his big 5 in life. That's really something need to learn for me again, think again. So question number 2, what belongs there? At that moment, I remember the Buddhist Heart Sutra. No attachment, no suffering. What belongs there? Nothing. So I will not suffer. If I attach to something belongs over there, I will suffer. When we have plan, we have goals, we have achievement, we suffer. Finally, go back to the number 1. What is in the center of your angel? Nothing. Emptiness. That's my answer to that question. I really like it. Really like how the Zen culture or even the Japanese culture deep into the modern culture. I was surprised about how deep the lesson can go. This is the reason why I really like the creativity 2 courses. I really like it. Every time give me something new to think about, the history, the person, the culture. Really, really like it. I hope.
Ernie.
I share Chen Long's feelings about this lesson too. I think the INSO and this lesson is a much bigger part of life than I realized, and that and the INSO is something that's really a big part that you just don't realize it. So I have about 4 parts that I kind of wanted to cover. One of them was that there's so many perspectives about INSO. Is it a circle that doesn't end? Is it a container that's empty that needs to be filled? It's just that I've approached it from different aspects, and to me it's just fascinating. If I could, the lesson itself about tweaking, to me, it's about what we're learning. In this case, learning about investing, and to me, it's like the things that are important in life, you make it our own. The things that I'm learning about investing, the rules that I'm making or learning, I then make it those rules, and it becomes my rules. I make it my own, and I own it. I take responsibility for it. So but really and truly, it's something that I've gotten from other people, from someone else, and that if I advance, or if you get taller in life, you're really just standing on the shoulders of other people, and that. So I hope that I learn more things to tweak, and I will take ownership for it. The INSO itself, it talked about it, that INSO, it evidences the character of its creator and the context of its creation in a brief, continuous period of time. First time I read that, it started to make me think of the past, and also an experience that I had earlier in my career. There's a question: who do you share it with? And to me, I really learned that was kind of important. And in this particular case, earlier in my career, we had our department meetings. In a sense, they were accountability meetings. You get together, you talk about your plan, and how things are going, and what you hope to do in the future, and how you're accomplishing your objectives. I had a new boss, and in the meeting with this new boss, we're all there talking about what we're doing. And one person and I'm sure it was an attempt at humor, said that there was a lot going on, and that I'm really busy, but I really can't tell you what I've done and what I've accomplished. And he meant that to be funny. But I remember, as everybody was sort of laughing, I watched my boss, and I could see it in his eyes that this gentleman that had made this statement had just crossed the line, and he was not going to be coming back from that. And that he was basically saying, I'm like a dog chasing my tail. Not really. He was just disappointed that he wasn't advancing as he wanted to. But the way he phrased it, he basically, it was not a good situation, and I knew that that he had crossed the line. So I know that it's very important. I guess I really learned, for one thing, to be careful what you say, and especially with a new boss, and in that their objectives and your objectives can certainly clash, and that the boss is the boss, and that they need to see progress. And I think the thing that stuck with me is that this gentleman had said, like, he was a dog chasing his tail. And I'd really thought about that. Do I feel like I'm chasing my tail quite a bit? And I do. I was thinking about my progress in investing for the week, and that was I really making headway? And I do feel that I am. I'm really proud of that fact. I've been in journaling, and in the journal, I really, as I go back and reflect on it, I do see that I'm following my rules, that I used to have trouble with that, and that I'm really getting much better about it. and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the progress that I'm making. So today, or I guess yesterday, when I was going over what I had my weeks, I thought that there was some things that I was still chasing my tail about. But there's one thing that I do feel that I felt like it was a frustration, but it really isn't. That I learned one thing, and then in learning that one thing, I discover 2 or 3 other things that I now need to learn, and it seems to grow exponentially. You know, that the more I know, the more I realize that there are so many more things that I don't know. But I really enjoy that, and it's great to make the discoveries, and then it's great to know that there are more discoveries to be made. That it's a circle that doesn't end, and then it's a good thing, and it's an exciting thing. And so at times it seems to be overwhelming, but I know that you just take it one step at a time, and so to me that's a great thing. So it's a great lesson. I really enjoy INSO, and I enjoy the fact that there's so many things that we can learn from it, and it's a good lesson. Aho.
Hey, good work, fellas. That's everything I got for today. I'm gonna get Jeff's slides posted in the Creativity 202 piece for your review. I think the way he's doing his markups is an exemplar of how to do it right. I gotta get to work here. My brother came down like a white tornado. We got rid of 4 carloads of books and a bunch of donations. So, and now I gotta reassemble all the loose pieces that are laying around and make this office livable again now that I can see the floor. So, you guys have a good rest of the day, and we shall see you soon in the chat room. Keep marching, and God bless. Take good care.
Thank you, Ken. Bye-bye.